Well, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you're listening around the world. A very warm welcome from London in the UK. Here is today's news about electric cars and the future of transport. My name is Martin Lee, and this is your EV News Daily for Tuesday, 20th of February 2018. On the podcast today, another new model / sketch from Volkswagen and more rapid chargers planned for the UK. But we'll start with Renault, the big news of today that everyone's been reporting. Renault are building on the success of their Renault Zoe with another incremental update. Following a larger battery last year to the Renault ZE40, which was the 40 kilowatt hour battery in a pretty small lightweight city car, hence the fantastic range for that car. Now they're upgrading the motor with the R110 model, meant to stand for 110 brake horsepower, but kind of misses it by 3. Anyway, it's a 12 kilowatt upgrade and a 16 brake horsepower upgrade as well. Takes it from 91 brake horsepower to 107. Like I say, they just missed out on the 110, but they're going from the R90 to the R110. Particularly noticeable at higher speeds, which is actually what drivers of the new Nissan Leaf have been noticing as well. All of the upgrade, the motor upgrades and things like that. It's not necessarily the 0 to 60 time, which will still be a lot slower than the Leaf, by the way, in the Zoe, but it's when you're up at 40, 50, 60 miles an hour and it's that kind of real world motorway cruising, it's that drivability that these new upgraded motors provide. That experience, it's the same weight and it is the same size. It's thanks to more efficiency and increases in technology which have allowed Renault to develop this in-house, being built in France. You're also getting Android apps via R-Link on this brand new Zoe, which comes with a funky purple paint job, and it's the first motor that Renault's made, which they are putting forward for WLTP testing, which is the new real-world testing, because NEDC is way too optimistic. So the new WLTP certification standard / protocol, whatever it's really called, is more of a real-world range figure, staying around 300 k's. Like I say, this motor isn't really about going further or getting 0 to 60 any quicker. It's about being more drivable. It's another incremental upgrade to the Renault Zoe, Europe's best-selling EV recently. Well, Volkswagen have got some catching up to do, and they've been doing some amazing work lately. If you haven't watched, our recommendation yesterday on the podcast was to go and watch the Fully Charged Show video with Johnny Smith over at Venice Beach, driving not 1, not 2, but 3 VW concept cars on the road, part of the ID family. Well, at this stage, it's a sketch, and let's face it, anyone can do a sketch, but it is going to turn up at the Geneva Motor Show in a couple of weeks' time, early March, in the flesh. It's what they call a premium class saloon or sedan, depending on where you're listening to us in the world. VW say it'll come with a pretty hefty 111 kilowatt hour battery and 225 kilowatt motor. That's about 413 miles and about 300 brake horsepower respectively on those two figures. This is the Volkswagen VIZZION. 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 They like their Zs on the ID range. Well, the new Mini Cooper E, which is going to be assembled in the UK, looks like it won't go into production until 2019, with the first deliveries at the end of the year, possibly even going into 2020. This is according to an article by autoevolution.com. Not sure whether they have some insight into why that delay. It seems like it's later than Mini told us they were going to do that. But from what we've seen of the car, if they can get the production car as close as possible to the concept, it's going to look gorgeous. Well, here in the UK, the private company National Grid is the company which manages the electricity infrastructure all over the country, and they could be investing in EV chargers. Up to 50 of them in England and Wales, 350 kilowatt chargers as well could be built, with the same in Scotland. Now, they've done some modelling of the UK and the main roads, and they say they found locations which 50 locations would put 96% of EV drivers within 50 miles of a 350 kilowatt rapid charger. If we ever get batteries, of course, and in turn cooling systems to keep the batteries cool enough to get that much energy into them, no doubt we will at some point, and when we do, you'll be able to get your battery to 80% in about 5 minutes. So all of those internal combustion engine drivers who say, I'll never buy an EV until I can fill it up in 5 minutes. Well, that's a tick off the list. However, the fastest apart from Tesla, the fastest in the UK at the moment is 50 kilowatt. We are looking, fingers crossed, 100 and plus kilowatt, maybe with ChargeMaster and the Jaguar I-Pace coming soon, maybe a connection with those two, or maybe separately, but National Grid going all out, and along with Porsche with their Mission E, talking about how they want to make it compatible, future-proof with 350 kilowatt rapid chargers. It looks like the battery technology is moving on pretty quickly. And finally, the curious case of a used car going up in value, and we're not talking a classic Ferrari or Mercedes from the 1920s here. We're talking about a used EV that's maybe 2 or 3 years old and coming off a lease, and if you bought one last year, you could probably sell it for more money than you bought it for. An article in the Times newspaper here in the UK today looks at used prices and the trends of used prices for EV, and as the rising popularity and people start to catch on about the money they can save and the environmental issues as well, recent figures published by the motor industry showed that although new car sales dropped by more than 6% last month in January, used EV prices are going up. Now, we're not telling you to buy a car as an investment, because the normal rules are that anything with wheels and an engine / motor is going to go down in value. And if you buy a new one, it's going to go down in value very, very quickly the minute you drive it out of the showroom. But it is a curious thing when cars start going up in value. Maybe it'll be a good investment if you have bought one. Well, thank you so much for listening today. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. We'd love to spread the word about electric cars, so please do share this with at least one person who might be interested. A reminder, get all of our previous episodes on iTunes. Whilst you're there, you can subscribe for free. You know what? If you did a rate and review, I'd love you forever. It really helps out with iTunes. It would mean a lot as well if you could download the brand new Amazon Echo Skill, the briefing. If you have an Alexa device, you can, in the Alexa app or Amazon Prime app, just search EV News Daily. Add our new skill and it will play you this audio as your morning briefing. If you want to say hi on Twitter, @EV News Daily. Have a great day and I'll catch you tomorrow.